what she or he may think that is gonna make, what technique can help them, like screaming. Well, if the place would allow it, screaming can help release the tension and frustration that come with anger. Think of the thing that angers you the most, build momentum, and let it out in one big shout. You may also scream out words you wish you could say if the venue is appropriate. The louder you scream, the better it is. Make sure it all depends on the venue. Then the second thing, physical activity. Well, many people find exercises, sports, dancing, and even just pacing about as effective ways to vent anger. Pillow punching, well, the need to fight back may be channeled through punching pillows. Pillows provide a safe way to release tensions. It's a safe not just for the object of the anger, but also for oneself. Even though I know many people, they do pillow punching when they are angry. Then it comes to writing. If physical activities are not your thing, you can blow off your steam by expressing your thoughts and feelings in writing. You can write in an unstructured way, simply putting on paper the first thing that comes to your mind. You can also be more creative about it and channel your anger through poetry or song. Then comes singing. Here's a new one actually. Vent your anger by going to your nearest karaoke bar. Many people find singing therapeutic, especially if the song lyrics and melody matches one's mood. You can do one thing to make the language objective rather than subjective. So what is the difference between objective and subjective? It's actually the one way to make a discussion remains constructive is to use objective rather than subjective language. Objective language involves stating a position using reference points that are observable, factual, and free from personal. Objective reference do not change from person to person. However, in subjective language, it's actually totally opposite to the objective one, which is vague, biased, and emotional. You're using subjective language when you're stating an opinion, assumption, belief, judgment, or humor. So what's this? Like state, clarify, don't presume, don't follow. So a state of personality traits. If you're using a subjective language, I can give you an example. It's like you are an inconsiderable supervisor. However, if you're going to use the same sentence or same kind of expression in objective language, it will be you are approved the rule without consulting us first. So this is what the main thing is. Avoid vague reference to frequency, instead the actual numbers. So like you're always late. If it is subjective language, you're always late. But if it is objective language, well, you were late for meetings 4 times in the past month. It's like you were actually saying the same thing, but without making someone angry and making the situation in control. You're telling the person that this is a mistake which you don't want in the future, in a very good way, in a very objective way. You're clarifying them. For example, clarify terms that can different to different people. If you're going to use a subjective language, then it will be like that. You practice favoritism when you give promotions. But same thing in objective languages. The employee ranking system is not being followed during promotions. Have you noticed the difference? Then is the other thing. You hate me. Well, you do not talk to me when we are in the room together. She stole my wallet. The wallet was in the desk when I left. It was no longer there when I came back, and she was the only person who entered in the room. Triple approach. What is triple approach? It's actually 3 things: alter, avoid, accept. In alter, you need to make sure you alter all your non-productive habits, way to view the things, react to the situation. So how do you alter? You're not a victim of the situation, of any situation. You always have the option of taking a deliberate and well thought response to an anger provoking situation. Your options typically fall into 3 categories: alter, avoid, accept. Alter means that you initiate change. You can change things in your environment that are within your control. You also can initiate changes with you. And second approach in AAA is avoid. Avoid simply means steering clear of situation that can make you angry. Like steer clear people who make you upset. Steer clear of your hot buttons. Remove yourself from a stressful situation immediately. And the last one in a triple approach, accept. Unfortunately, there are some things that we cannot change nor avoid. In this case, we have to accept them. This is true in many things that involve unrecoverable losses like an accident or financial collapse. So find learning. Seek higher purpose. Went to a friend. If you cannot do anything but accept a situation, at the very least find someone to share your experience with. It's a very good saying of Elizabeth Carney. He who angers you conquers you. It's not just our own anger that can get overwhelming. Another person's blow up can also trigger intense reactions in us, including shock, fear, and even reactive rage. So what is actually energy curve? Is there any problem solving is possible in that? Well, in a rational behavior, this is a stage when a reasonable discussion about the cause of the anger can happen. Before an angry reaction, a person is said to be in that rational frame of mind. However, once the angry reaction takes root, people go into a state of mind to reasoning. It is important then to get the person back to the rational frame of mind. Second is take off in energy. Well, angry reaction slowly builds momentum, and the point when the anger is gaining energy is called the takeoff stage. The way anger builds its intensity differs from person to person. For example, some people start with hostile facial reactions, which progresses to shouting, and which progresses to hitting the table. Other people build up anger in less obvious ways. They start keeping quiet and then progresses to physically withdrawing themselves from other people. The anger would continue to build energy until it reaches its peak. Then there's slow down stage. In this stage is the most intense of the person's reactions. It is a turning point. The reaction stops gaining momentum and begins a steady decline. There is a cool down. And once the angry reaction has reached its height, it will start to subside. You can tell by observing the person's behavior. Often their voices go down to a level tune. They are not moving their hands as much as they seem to breathe easier. Unless provoked further, the person will run out of steam. However, if you start arguing to the person even during this stage, the reaction can take off once again. Then is the back to rational behavior. Now, once the individual has returned to the stage, you can begin to start talking about the problem reasonably. You may even start the problem solving at this point. So what is the total summary of energy curve? It's actually when a person is angry, just let them vent. It's the fastest way to deal with the situation. De-escalation techniques are skill interventions designed to facilitate a person's cooling down process, reduce the possibility of getting verbally or physically hurt, and gain control of the situation. Well, there are some examples of de-escalation technique like listening, reflect, clarify. We'll start with the listening. So while listening, make sure that your posture shows openness. Establish eye contact, speak soft, well modulated, not threatening tone of voice. And when you're going to reflect it, restate what you hear from the person. Then clarify, help the person make sense of their garbled, confusing, or illogical statements. Like, could you help me explain to me a bit more about what happened in the cafeteria? What do you mean by you bullied you? Like these kind of things. Then support. Reiterate your support. Emphasize your willingness to help. Set limits. Tell the person that you're willing to listen, but you would appreciate that it tone down the expression of his anger. This slide is really very important because this is going to tell you when you can do back way or what to do next. Not all angry reactions can be effectively dealt with. Here are some situations when it is more advisable to back away. When you're too affected by an issue to view it objectively. De-escalating anger requires that you can take yourself out of an issue, even temporarily, and look at it objectively. However, if the issue has personal meaning for us or we are too tired to properly intervene, then we don't have the resources to de-escalate the situation. So just try to back away. The other one, signs of verbal or physical violence. Well, your priority is always your well-being and safety. Warning signs for violence include a history of violent behavior, severe rage for seemingly minor reasons, possession of weapons, and threats of violence. What to do next? Get as far as you can from the person. Go into the public place. Mood altering substances. Well, there is influence of mood altering substances. No de-escalating technique can help you deal with a person who has taken alcohol or mood altering drugs, both legal or antidepressants or and illegal, whatever. So what you can do in that situation is disengage from the conversation and talk to them when they are sober. Signs of serious mental health condition. Well, there are moments when a person is hell-bent on rape, and there's nothing you can do because maybe the person is have some kind of mental health condition. So it's better to take away and let the appropriate people to come and help them. There's nothing wrong with disagreement. No two people are completely similar, therefore it's inevitable that they would disagree on at least one issue. There's nothing wrong in having a position and defending it. Just try to make sure that the disagreement, you have to keep it in a constructive way. Stay on solution focus, mutual respect, win-win solution, reasonable concession, and learning focus. In solution focus, actually, the disagreement aims to find a workable compromise at the end of the discussion. In mutual respect, even if two parties do not agree with one another, courtesy is always a priority. Win-win solution is a constructive disagreement is not geared towards getting the one up on the other person. The premium is always on finding a solution that has benefits for both parties. In reasonable concessions, more often than not, a win-win solution means you won't get your way completely. Some degree of sacrifice is necessary to meet the other person's halfway. In constructive disagreement, parties are open to making reasonable concessions for the negotiation to move forward. Hi, I'm sure there were a few new things which you have learned today, and you can use these things in your professional life as well in your day-to-day life to cope simple matters to make things easier for yourself and surround you. If there is anything, write in the comment section. Stay safe.